we can actually go to the bank. Well, today's day on
Sure.
Monday, but
Yeah, she's, all right.
How are you? Good to see you. John, she's sworn in tonight. Whenever they do that. So that's normal. That's correct, man.
the ones that the man.
County Hospital District, May the 12th, 2015. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. The bulk of these minutes is approving contracts and agreements.
Make a motion to accept it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? David, you are saying these ballots are being given.
I can do it. I passed out to the board the results of the election on May 9th. There were 507 early votes. There were 507 early votes. There were 857 total votes. If you turn to the next page, you'll see how it broke out. Barbara Krause asked about what are undervotes. Undervotes are when you just simply didn't vote for every place there was. You can just vote for one person or every person. So, but anyway, the results will be for you there. In the one contested race, Robert Greer received 557 votes to Patrick Walker's 273. Technically, Dr. Kelly was reelected to the board. I did not speak with him since then, but we probably need another resignation from him due to the fact that he was reelected. He resigned after the time to remove his name from the ballot. So technically, he's still on the board, or has been reelected to the board. If there are any questions to canvass, here are all the people that voted. I ask if you look at these, which is certainly your right to do, that you put them back in these packages in which they came from. You'll see everyone's name here on that sign-in, combination sign-in sheet. For those people in Crockett, both the early voting and the Crockett election day, they were done by those little computers, and there's a gun label printed. But for all the other boxes, they were done at a time and way, just on the combination. So if you want to see these now, or if you want to see them later, they're right here. I'm happy to start that.
Thank you.
The only thing you would be concerned with is if someone voted twice, which is a felony offense.
Yeah. How about the motion to accept this report from Dave on the ballot canvas?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded by David. Comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, we are going to swear in the new members at the first regular meeting, which is, what's the date of that meeting?
It'll be a week from today.
Okay. At that time, I have appointed a nominating committee for officers of this board and to present someone to the board for our approval and consideration approval to fill the place 3.
Which Which is Dr. Keller.
Sir?
Which is Dr. Keller.
Yeah. So we will need we'll need a letter from him, another resignation letter.
Yes, sir.
The nominating committee, chairman is Carol Dawson. The other two members would be Dr. Perry Ramsey and Ms. Barbara Krause. They agreed to do that. I don't believe we need a vote on that. That's my decision to appoint them. Okay, the next item would be an update from Mr. Roloff on the CHC. There you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like every meeting we start, we just mention the things that roll on, we can split. We are in the midst of personnel. I think we've had 100 applications brought in. People currently here as well as people outside. We've extended and have accepted around 25 job offers. We're in the process now of, we will have, background checks are being done on everybody that the job offers are being extended to. But we're simultaneously trying to line people up for drug screens. We've actually, Barbara's located a company that's coming in Thursday of this week. And, we're going to try to catch as many people as we can that day. Otherwise, the nearest drug screen place is Palestine. So we'll actually have directions so that somebody gets hired next week or can't make it in this Thursday, we'll be directed to where they need to go. We are trying to, and I think we'll get there, we're trying to get as many job applicants, or get as many jobs filled, positions filled by May 21st, next week, so we can forward that information on to G&A partners so that they can work with their underwriters to get the health plan proposal put together. On June 2nd, we'll need to have, by June 2nd, we'll need to have a call meeting where G&A will come and present the health package to the board, the options, so that you can make a decision and move forward with that. I think I mentioned last week that just because of the short time frame and the process of getting people hired, getting their medical background or medical information, getting insurance companies to bid on it, there was no way to have a policy in place by June 1, but we will have the stuff in place by July 1. So there'll be a month gap in there whereby employees can opt to do COBRA. Some employees will probably opt to do nothing. And so we're thinking about a couple of other things to do so that people will feel comfortable with that gap. It was physically impossible to get it back. We're doing well to get it done by July 1. But a lot of things going on, and I've got to commend Barbara because both of the employees are clinical nature, and while she'll tell you that she's not an expert on laboratory or imaging, she's a whole lot more expert on laboratory or imaging than I am. And so we have divided the positions. Bob, Foray, and Barbara are taking the bulk of it. We're running a lot. We've had some very good applicants from the outside come to us. There's a lot of interest. The town hall meetings started last night. We did the first one at Lovelady. I think it went very, very well from a number of standpoints. Number one, it was very well attended. I think that probably were more than about 60 people there. There may have been more. lot of people showed up. The weather held for us, but there was some dicey predictions, but it didn't stop folks from coming out. The other thing is that it was a very interactive group. We had no idea how long it might go. It started at 5:30. We ran almost 2 hours. People asking questions, people making comments. Some of them were hard questions. We didn't have full, complete answers. But I just felt that it generated some good dialogue. It certainly gave us some good stuff to think about as we go forward. The attendance and the level of interaction prompted a decision that this Thursday's meeting, we have a meeting scheduled Thursday at 6 o'clock at the community room at First Community Bank. Today, we moved the venue, we moved it to the Crockett Civic Center, just to have more room, because, again, there was enough dialogue, enough conversation last night that some people probably went home and talked to friends and family, and the media was there last night, so from what happened last night, we just think that we need to be prepared for a bigger crowd Thursday.
Bill, it's 5:30, it's ours.
I'm sorry, thank you, it's 5:30, this Thursday is 5:30, I apologize for that. It's 6 o'clock at Kennard next week. Okay. It's good enough, so I'll show up 30 minutes late. Nothing good. Our child documents are near completion. That's the change of ownership. I think I told you last week, the license application has been filed. The change of ownership documents, we had, the lawyers had just a few pieces of miscellaneous information. We've got that now. So that document can be filed. It will be filed for the hospital. We have to do a change of ownership, a separate change of ownership on the rural health clinic, even though we're rolling it into the hospital, because it has been set up as a separate entity, as a separate child. There's a little bit of a hang-up, not from our side, but from ET&C side, as far as what the location and date of location, location and name of the rural health clinic. Because the rural health clinic, as we know it today, has actually gone through several iterations through the years. It's been in several locations. It was started out as a regular clinic in 1990-something or 80-something. And there's some confusion, and I think a lot of it comes from the governmental side, both the state and federal, as to when it changed locations and what its name and the address. So anyway, all of that means that as we file our check, say we're doing a change of ownership, if we say the building is, I forget what it's called today, but it's called such and such at such and such address, if that doesn't match up with what CMS, Medicare, Medicaid has, then it lengthens the whole process while it gets created, and we're trying to avoid that. So, working with ET&C, they're having to go through a bunch of hoops to get it straightened out. We just have to wait until they do. We continue to finalize a number of contracts, service contracts. I've signed a bunch this week. The IT proposals that y'all approved last week are kicked into action in earnest, and they're pushing to get that stuff in place by June 1. The system that they're going to provide. And then with all of this going on, we're working on a revised pro forma and a budget, because we're now getting to a place where we have a better idea of what it's cost to run this place, what potential revenues could be. We are going to be having to take a assumptions. One of the key assumptions is what we think the admissions might be going forward. Everybody, anecdotally believes that admissions will go back up. What we're going to have to do is take where we are now, talk to a number of individuals, including our physicians, and get an idea, how does up look? Is it small increments? If somebody was surprised to see we're getting 500 admissions the first day of the decisions. But the assumptions need to come together as we now look at the numbers, and we look at some of the contracts that CHC will be bringing to the table to replace contracts that were in place with the TMC. So, which is very hard to get those, if we get an updated profile. That is pretty much the updates. Kind of where we are. There's a lot of stuff going on, but again, I'm real pleased with that. Because I think it opened up some more communication with the community, and I hope we have this positive reception at the next two. And as we explained to folks last night, we still are trying to confirm one more, do one at the senior center in Crockett. But once June 1 comes, that doesn't mean that the community town hall meetings stop. It was a good experience, I think, for the citizens that came last night. I know it was for management's standpoint, and we had a number of board members there. And I believe that they really benefited from it. So we look to set up possibly a regular schedule, things like that going forward. That's the CHC update, if anybody's got any questions.
Anybody have any comments or questions of the bill? Sure you wouldn't mind. Silence? Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Yes, sir. Then we roll to number 6, the logo review and selections. We've got copies here. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look. 5, 6 there. So, we had sent out a proposed logo and some color suggestions. And don't know how much time you've had to look at them, what your thoughts are. I'm not asking for necessarily a work session right now, but if something has really kind of hit the board or a consensus of the board that they like, we really would appreciate your comments.
Is your intent not to have any more of a logo? This is a logo.
No, it would be nice to have more. It's just, again, it's the time and cost factor of somebody spending the time to create more of the logo. I mean, if y'all have a problem particularly, so at this point it's mostly font and color. But if you're uncomfortable with the font, but what we're pushing to do is have something, and be a banner like, and we're not necessarily going to spend a whole lot of money rebuilding the memorials, the monument sign up front, but to cover it with a banner, something that, with a little color that can go on the various forms the hospital does, the stationery, does not preclude within the next few months, taking a little more time to take it. This is not necessarily something that's going to have to last for 25 years. It's just, what can we put in place that begins to put the name of the hospital, the name of the campus in people's minds? So, we're definitely open to suggestions going forward. It's just that we need something to put out there.
So if I'm reading you right, you say this could be an interim
Absolutely.
situation to,
Absolutely.
because of time constraints, and that we can put more effort into it once we get all this other stuff done.
How about this stack one that's blue with the red medical center? It's one it looks orange to me.
We can make it red, you're not locked in on the colors. I mean, if
Not orange.
Well, the ambulance is red.
It's for signs, yeah.
And I,
What we're gonna say.
I'm not arguing, I'm just throwing one out there, if anybody like to speak up. You got it, Maria? Don't like any of them. Don't like any of them.
Well, that's why it's interim.
Tell us.
Well, I will be the first to admit that it lacks
Imagination.
some imagination, distinction, I would say distinction, but imagination might be enough.
What if we did a contest?
Well, see, again, that is something that the board could decide to do, to have a community contest or a contest on the high school.
And actually, when we spoke with Ann Block, who is our PR person who has worked on this, that's one of the things we took back to her, is that y'all had mentioned wanting to have a community involvement and coming up with the logo design, et cetera, and we talked about not having the time to do that. But as Bill just said, we do need something to make a banner for the to cover the monument sign, you know, at midnight on the 31st, which is not very long away. Which not, so really, this is really just to try to do something that is standardized until we have that contest and we have some more input from the board and from the community on what that looks like.
I think it would be fun, I know we have some talented people, certainly.
Something like this.
Artists up here.
Something like this can be set up by a printer at relative inexpense, and relative inexpense. When you start getting into your more creative logos and whatnot, then it gets more expensive. So when you start getting to a more creative or imaginative logo, then you need to think in terms of something long term. So that,
But the tagline,
yeah, I think we'd like to include a tagline on a certain degree. But there's a lot of thought that has to that I think you all in the community may want to get into. But I'm reluctant to put, to leave the ETMC signs out there and just put up a banner that says "Coming soon to your neighborhood," an amen.
Does anybody
And I
have
appreciate
any other
your
thoughts
comments, because I
on
do.
these? We need to pick one of these tonight, it sounds like.
It'd be nice if we
Let's
had.
pick one of these tonight and then do a contest.
What?
Pick one of these tonight and then submit it to the public for a contest.
Well, I think we can discuss that and see what the logistics can do. If it's feasible, I think it'd be a nice idea. I'm not putting you down and saying,
No.
consider it.
it is a huge.
So is the consensus on the stacked, dark with the red? Is that what y'all were saying, or did y'all say something?
We like that on this end.
Yep.
we don't get on this thing, because red's the first color you see after yellow. That's why nature signs are red, and yellow signalizer yellow, those are the first two colors you see. So I like the red one. In the interest of brevity, I'll move with the red one.
Stacked. Stacked or linear?
Stack.
Stacked.
Well,
I move that we do the stack red blue all over the place.
that's what she was on, she started with.
Okay, she made the motion, you're seconding it. Okay. We've already had a lot of discussion. Is there any specific discussion about this particular choice? Everyone okay with it? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Who's seconding that motion?
Carol.
Who made it?
Barbara.
Bill?
Thank you very much. If I could get one of those copies back, because my personal copy's in black and white. Thank you.
Okay, we have a special presentation this evening on the board's role of quality assessment, which already both Mr. Orloff and Ms. Watson has impressed on me and how important that is. And they have a person from UTMC.
Dr. Stovall, I'm going to ask Barbara to introduce our speaker.
Okay.
Can I introduce it?
Just go forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trippers, I appreciate that. First of all, I'm Barbara Watson, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm going to introduce Amy Boykin. Amy Boykin is the Senior Vice President for Quality and Care Management with Community Hospital Corporation. I've known Amy a while, and I often introduce Amy as the smartest person I know, because she is the smartest person I know. She is my mentor, she is my friend, and she is absolutely the expert on quality, regulatory compliance, and care management for our patients. So I'll turn this over to Amy so she can give you her words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I've got a handout here. My apologies for not having a projector. I actually started out with it, but didn't get here with it. But I do want to talk about, we're going to talk about a couple of things fairly quickly. This is really just to sort of introduce you to the concept of quality assessment performance improvement and the board's role in that, which will be, it's always been important, especially to folks like me. I'm a nurse by training, so spent a lot of time at the bedside, and then, kind of came up and began to do some more administrative things. But it's becoming more important. And right now today, I'd like to tell my CFOs and finance folks, if their new best friend is not the quality director in the hospital, they need to learn to know each other, because now quality improvement, value-based purchasing is where the government payers are going, as well as the insurance company and the managed care. So what we do relative to the quality of care and patient safety provided in the hospital will now be directly tied to reimbursements, so therefore to the finances. And so again, it's ever more important for the governing body, for the board, to know and understand what that means, and then how you can help and what your role is. So that's kind of the purpose of tonight, is to talk about some things really quickly. And then at some point in time, one of the things that we like to provide from the CAC perspective is education and information to most of the departments across the hospital, but certainly to